Alrighty, welcome everybody. I hope everyone's ready to do some stamping tonight. My name is Julie Brown. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and welcome. I hope everyone's had a great day and is ready to see some really fun cards tonight. So as you guys know, lately I've been doing kind of a simple, what we call a simple card, then a casual card, and then an Avid card. And I've been hearing that everyone's really loving that, so I'm going to kind of continue with that trend a little bit. I am going to probably be popping in some other days to do some of the other types of techniques so that I can show more than just these three types of cards. Anyway, let's get the housekeeping out of the way. So that is the September hostess code, and you can order through me at juliebrown.stampinup.net. My email is juliescreativestampin@gmail.com, and then my Pinterest, Facebook, and Instagram is all Julie's Creative Stamping. My YouTube channel is juliebrown.juliescreativestamping, and then my blog is juliescreativestamping.com, but please bear with me. I am in the middle of working on my blog. It's probably going to take me quite a few weeks to get it all set up the way that I want it. So when you go in there, the blogging part of it is working, but there's other parts of the website that are not. So if you just go into the blog and under search, you just type in like birthday cards, then all of the birthday cards that are in there, a list will come up that you can click on. So please bear with me as I get that ready. Alrighty, so let's talk about what we're doing tonight. I am going to be working with the Apple Harvest. Now for the next few weeks, I'm actually going to be showing you cards made with these perfect partners. What Stampin' Up! Did was on September 1st, they came out with dies to go along with stamp sets that were already in the annual catalog and were also in the mini catalog. And so this is only good through September 30th, so I want to make sure I'm showing these to you. Also there is, oh gosh, I forgot. I will look it up in just a second, but, and I should have had that done. I believe it is September 15th. There is a huge sale going on through Stampin' Up, and it is going to be almost all of the stamp sets in the annual catalog. So just go on to the Stampin' Up site and even my site, and you can see what all is going to be on sale on the 15th. Hey Shanine, so glad you're here. All right, so let's get ready with the Apple Harvest. So we're going to start with the simple stamping like I always do. And so I'm just going to bring in a piece of white, basic white, and we're just going to use our stamps to decorate this card. I'm kind of glad that I'm doing this because I myself forget, you know, how pretty your cards can be by just stamping. So I'm going to take the largest stamp and we're going to stamp that. Now I'm going to clean all these in just a hot second. Then I'm going to bring in the next stamp in this stamp set. When I say next stamp, the like next largest stamp. Gonna stamp that one right there, and then we're gonna come in. Oh, so Janine, you just ordered the die for this stamp set. Well, you're gonna love what I do tonight. And then I'm gonna stick that one up in that corner, and then we're gonna come in with the large apple, and we're gonna put this one up in this corner. Hey Cindy, so glad you made it tonight. And then this one is going to be in this corner. And then I'm going to come in with the little apple blossom. And I'm just going to use this apple blossom to kind of fill in where I feel like it needs some more. So just kind of like that. All right. So then that's what it looks like once you're done stamping it. Now, through the power of magic, well, let me go ahead and clean all of these off really quick. For those of you that don't know, this is our simple chamois, and you just use water, and it just cleans the stamp sets. This is a lot easier on your stamp sets. I know there's a lot of, and even Stampin' Up! Still sells their stamp cleaner, but this is just a lot gentler on the stamps, so I'm all about trying to make my stamps last as long as possible. So again, you're going to stamp it and then you're going to color it in. Now, I didn't want to make you guys watch me color the whole thing in. So, ta-da! Already done. So I'm going to color this apple and this because I want to show you how I got this look on these little apple blossoms. And so for this one, I used cherry cobbler. And so, I mean, just the way, and these are our blends for those of you that don't know. And so I just kind of go in and I just kind of fill in where it's already dark. And so let me put this in closer so you guys can see what I'm doing. There we go. So I use the dark cherry cobbler and then I just come in with the lighter one and just blend all that together. That's the really cool thing about our blends, is that it does all the work for us. And you know, this is, to me, this is one of our easy buttons because it just makes blending and getting the highlights and lowlights into what you're coloring. It takes the guesswork out of it, right? Now you can take the different color of blends and blend different colors together. I have done that. And that works really well too. But if you're just trying to get like some lowlights and highlights, this is the way you do it. All right, so there's that colored in. Then what I did on these little apple blossoms was I kind of, because if you've ever seen apple blossoms, they kind of only have the color at the top. So I just kind of went in with the dark cherry cobbler and put little dots. And then what I did is I used our color lifter. And so I know a lot of people don't even know about this or know what it is, but basically it takes color away. But in this case, I didn't want to take it completely away, but I wanted to soften it and then kind of push that color down the leaf. So I'm going to come in with the color lifter and I'm pushing away from the edge. It's really important that you push away from the edge because this will make it bleed if you push towards, like if it basically pushes the color. So if I push to the outside of my flower, it's going to push that color to the outside of my flower. And I don't know if you guys can see how it's like taking that cherry cobbler and it's actually pushing it down. So I'm just kind of going in a circular motion. It's also removing some of this color, but it's also spreading that color. And that's why you've got to be careful not to push it to the outside of the line. Okay, so I'm just gonna go all the way around. And you can see I'm just going in a circular motion, but the whole time I'm pushing away from the edge. Because if I pushed it towards the edge, that color would go past that line. So again, we're just going to push and do it kind of in a circular motion. But I am drawing some of that cherry cobbler down so that it does look it looks like the apple blossoms look when they're on the tree, because they basically just kind of have color on the tips. So this is just another use for this color lifter, where it can help you soften up what you have put on there and give you the look that you're wanting. So there you go. All right, so can you see how it like softened that up? And that's what I was looking for. Okay, so again, I did this ahead of time, and I went ahead, so I used just jade and cherry cobbler, and then I brought in what did I use on this one? Oh, petal pink for the inside of this one. for the apple. And so now we're just going to kind of finish this one off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in this strip of black, and I'm going to kind of do this kind of at a corner. I am covering up a couple of my flowers. So if you didn't want the flowers covered completely, you're just going to adjust this to match what you want. So I'm just going to bring in some liquid glue. I think this is the one that's almost empty. And I'm going to bring in one of my silicone mats so that I don't get glue all over my paper here. Alrighty, and then we're just going to lay this down, kind of catty corner. And I'm just going to kind of push that down a little bit. And give it a little bit of time to dry. But see how now the glue's on this, and all I have to do is bring in a baby wipe and get that off of there. I guess I should get you guys back out so you can see the whole screen. I always forget when I come in. And then I do have one pair of snips that I kind of use for my glue when I have glue on things. Everyone always asks me why I have so many snips, and this is one of the reasons, is because I don't like getting glue on all of my snips. I mean, it's easy enough to clean off, but I just use one specific one. And so then let me show you how easy it is to clean off that silicone mat. I actually own 4 silicone mats because I do use them quite a bit. All right, so that's how easy it is to clean your silicone mat. It's like, voila, all done. All right. So next what we're going to do is we are going to bring in that card base. I thought I had it already over here, but I had to reach back and get it. And I haven't pre-scored it, so I'm just going to fold it and then bring in my bone folder so that I can burnish the edges. And then we're just going to take this piece, and it's going to go on the front of this card. Again, this is just the, stamping and coloring. That's all we're doing here. Because I do realize that not everybody has the die cut machine. And so I want to make sure that I'm showing everybody how to use just the stamp set, if that's what you have. And as you can see, you can turn out some pretty cool cards with just the stamp set. And then this is one of the sentiments. It says the greatest gift is a good friend. That's one of the sentiments in this stamp set. So I stamped this on a piece of basic white, and then I fussy cut around it. And so again, I'm just going to do little dots. Not a ton. I never use a ton of glue because you just don't need it. And if you put too much on it, then it squeezes out from all the ends. And then we're going to try to center this the best that I can onto there. And then for the inside, we're going to, as you can see, I already stamped and colored one of the apples. And then we're going to bring in this other sentiment from this set that says, thanks for your kindness. So the front is going to say, the greatest gift is a good friend. And the inside is going to say, thanks for your kindness. Oh gosh. It's putting a shadow on the paper, so I can't tell if that's straight. Whew, I got lucky. I really could not see that. I was stamping blind there, ladies. All right, so let me just bring this in. And we're going to clean that off. And then this is going to go on the inside. Now for my second card, I kind of cheated. I just had a bingo. So for those of you that were at the bingo, you just made this card. But I was sitting here trying to design a new like casual card, And then I thought, wait a minute, I already have one. It's little, but I already have one. So basically what we consider like simple stamping is when you're just using, hey Misty, when you're just using the stamp set and you're just coloring in. And that's what I did with this one. It's basically cardstock. There's no designer series paper, and we're just stamping, coloring to design our card. All right, so that is card 1. Now card 2, again, for those of you that were at my bingo, I apologize. I know you just did this card, but I was like, it's perfect for a casual stamper. So this time, and what we consider casual stampers is people that like to use ribbon, like to use paper, like to die cut a few things, but not over the top. So the first thing I'm going to do is, this is the Gingham designer series paper. There's like so many sheets in this. This paper is way worth the money because you get so much of it, and you get this Gingham pattern in all sorts of different colors. And so I'm going to lay that down, and then I am going to pull out some of our linen thread, and I'm just going to wrap this around the left side, if I cannot tie a knot in it while I'm trying to undo it. So again, this is kind of like what I said, casual stampers. And all this means is that, you know, you want to do more than just stamp, and you don't mind die cutting, but it's not something that you want to do you don't want to do a ton of die cutting. And so that's what we call like a casual. Like you like the punches, you know, most casual stampers like the punches because it's just basically kind of punching out one thing. And that's kind of what they like. So we're just going to take this, and again, I know that some of you have already seen this. Oh, I'm glad you like that last one, Shanine. And then you just kind of spread this to make it. And sometimes I'll actually take one end and kind of go like that, where I've kind of crisscrossed them a little bit, just to give it a little more interest. Oh, so Shanine, you need to be careful when you wrap the thread so that you don't, you don't want to make it so tight. But you can see, like mine was loose enough, I was able to grab it and then cross it over the top. And so for this particular one, a lot of times we don't trim this, but for this one we do want this trimmed because we kind of want it, we're going to be hiding this behind a piece that I'm fixing to put on here. Okay, then we're going to take this piece and we are going to, and you'll see I went over the linen thread, and oh, I'm getting adhesive everywhere. Again, if I had my silicone mat, if I'd have left my silicone mat here, that wouldn't be happening. So then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick this in on here like so, and just push that down. Then I am going to come in with, and this I pre-colored, and so when I talked about die cutting, I use the die cuts to cut this out. Now I want you guys to see there are like 25 die cuts in this set. And so I use this one right here. In the next one, I'm using a lot of these little pieces so that you can see those at work. Okay, and then I'm just going to bring in some mini dimensionals and my Take Your Pick tool. I was doing a video this morning for an online extravaganza that I was on, and because I had just had my bingo class, I had all of my Take Your Pick tools sitting over at my on the tables over there. Or I've cleaned them all. I've cleaned all the tables off, but I left all of the tools and stuff still kind of sitting over there. And so it's amazing how when you get used to using this and then you don't have it anymore, how much you miss it. And with the mini dimensionals, I tend to use a little bit more than I would if I was using the big ones, just because I'm trying to make sure I get a good coverage. Now I am going to cut a really small little edge for this right here, because I do want to make sure that that sticks up. Yeah. So I'm just going to stick that right there. Okay, so now I'm just going to go through and I'm going to pull all of those cover papers off of these so that the sticky side is up. All right. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to position this in such a way that it's going to kind of cover this little knot that I have there. So I've got to either make that leaf cover it or the stem. I think I'm going to use the leaf. And then I'm just going to lay that down like so. And you know, again, just you guys, even though I'm doing this on a really tiny card, you could extend this and put this on a bigger card, right? This could have been a 4 by 5 1/4. We could have maybe a couple of these on the card, but same type of layout will work on a larger card. And then I pre-stamped this little thanks, and unfortunately during my card class, I got some ink on this. So I'm going to put something there in a little bit to cover that. But this is basically just going to go down in this corner, but I'm going to put dimensionals on this bottom line. And then I'm going to use liquid glue on the top because this is already popped up, so I don't want to put more dimension there, because if I did that, it would sit not level. All right, so I'm just going to pull that off. Stick this on like so. And I am leaving a little bit at the bottom so that you can see some of that designer series paper. So that's going to stick on there like that. Then I am going to pull out my little pearls that I had. And again, I'm just going to get those off of here. And we're just going to stick those on the card front. Like so. And I did like one large, one medium, and one small of this one. And put the pearls right there. And like I said, I'll probably I'll either stamp something, or I might cut a little apple and put a little apple there a little bit later. I'm not going to take the time to do that during this video. And so now I'm going to take my glue dot and I'm going to kind of fold it in half, because this tends to be a little bit, when you're using the linen thread, it's very thin. And so you can, a lot of times you can see that glue dot once you stick it on there. So I always fold my glue dots in half when I'm using the linen thread, just so it doesn't, you can't see the glue dot. And then I'm just going to trim. Ooh, I'm using the wrong scissors there. Those are the ones I use for my adhesive, and they were a little sticky and they were sticking to my linen thread. All right, so boom. It is a mini card, but I just wanted to show you. This would be a casual stamper because I did die cut this. I did use the Stylish Shapes banner to cut this out as well. And then I just used some designer series paper. Okay, so that would be the next level. Now on the inside, I normally don't put anything, because if it's a thank you card, I'm gonna write something. But we could bring in, I think this was real red. So we could bring in like these little, and this is what we did. I gave them a choice in my class. And so you could come in and you could just put like 3 of these down in that corner, like so. And then that just decorates the inside as well. Alrighty. So no questions on this yet, huh? Okay, so now we're going to go all out. We're going to be using a bunch of the dies and some designer series paper and some ribbon and some embellishments, because that's what we call the Avid stamper. The Avid stamper likes to do a lot of layering, And one of the reasons I'm doing these videos this way is also trying to teach you to figure out what kind of a stamper are you, or what kind of a card maker are you. So I'm going to pull in, I cut out 2 of the apple blossom dies, and I know you guys can't see that. Here, let me pull. I'm going to pull in another one of my silicone mats so you can see what I'm doing. And so these are, so I call these standalone dies because they don't cut out something that you stamped. All of these little dies, this is what they do. They cut out and they have like, can you see the pattern? Let me bring this closer. There's like a pattern that it puts on what it's cutting out. And then the leaf is the same way. So see what the leaf looks like cut out. Really cute, really, really cute. So what I did is I took a sponge dauber and I inked it up with some cherry cobbler ink. And again, I'm just gonna hit the tips of this to make it look like a true apple blossom. All right, so that's what it's gonna look like. So I'll bring that closer so you can see that. So that just puts some color onto that. Like I said, I cut out a bunch of the dies, but let's start getting this card put together because I've already done all the coloring and everything for this card so that it didn't take like a ton of time. So I'm starting with a cherry cobbler base. And I have a piece of evening evergreen that is cut to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And we're just gonna stick that on here. Ah. All right, and then I've got this really pretty designer series paper, and I have forgotten what this is. I'm gonna look it up. It's in the mini catalog, and this is the Boughs of Holly designer series paper. The Boughs of Holly designer series paper. And so now I'm just gonna bring this in. Because I don't know if you guys, I think a lot of you guys know, I really like the more like country Christmas, and I like the, you know, I like a lot of the earth tones, neutral tones, natural tones, and so this paper really spoke to me. So we're not doing a Christmas card, but again, I want to show you guys how you can get this paper and you can absolutely use it for something that is not Christmas. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is, this is that natural ribbon, and I went ahead and frayed the ends on it. So see what I did to the ends. And I'm gonna come in here. Oh wait, nope, I almost forgot something. So the other side of this paper looked like this. So I'm gonna go actually put one of these strips here, and then I'm gonna put one up here. Almost forgot the strips. So for this one, I didn't have to decide which side of the designer series paper I wanted to use. I used both sides of this one because it coordinated so well together. So that one's gonna go right there. Then we're gonna bring this one in. And I'm gonna try to center that the best that I can. Obviously, you could measure it if you wanted to get it exactly the same space. And what I'm talking about is same space here is same space there. But I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it because that's just kind of how I do things. So for those of you that like to measure, close your eyes and don't watch me do this and just pretend that I measured it. All right, so there's that. Alrighty. And then next what I did is, now I'm gonna bring this back in, and I basically just kind of used glue dots again to put this piece down. And I kind of looked at like where I want it. And then I just kind of put a couple of glue dots along that path. So again, I can kind of look at where I want it so I can see kind of where I might need to put some glue dots. And I think I'm just going to actually just put one more right there. And the reason is because I'm going to be layering on top of this, so I don't feel like I have to put a ton of adhesive to keep that down. And then next I used our layering circle dies to cut an evening evergreen and a crumb cake. So I'm going to glue these two pieces together. So as you can see, not only am I using the dies from this particular bundle, but I brought in some other dies as well. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to the side, and I'm going to bring in all these little pieces. Well, not all of them, but I'm going to bring in, so this is the limb that die set cuts out. And I'm just going to kind of lay this out to see, you know, where I need to place these so that it fits, stays on, because I like it to stay on the designer series paper. I don't like it to go off of that. So this just kind of lets me know kind of where I need to put things. It just gives me a really good idea of how it's going to all work out. And so I like doing it that way so that I can see that it is gonna work out the way that I want it to work out. All right, so hopefully I'm still live. I'm not seeing me on my screen, so if one of you guys could let me know that yes, it's working, and that for some reason it's just not showing on my computer screen. So hopefully you guys are still here. I hope so. So if someone can type in and let me know that you're here, that would be wonderful. I hope it hasn't disconnected me for some reason. We'll see. All right. So next I'm going to take some liquid glue. Okay, thank you, Cindy, for letting me know you guys were still there. Usually I can see it on my computer screen, but I think Facebook has changed some things, because I did do, like I said, I did a live video this morning and I could not see it either. So I couldn't tell if I was actually live this morning on the site that I was on this morning. So, you know, Facebook's always changing things, so I just never know what to expect when I'm going live. So again, I'm just, you know, coming in, and if you guys haven't seen these are just clear plastic containers that I transfer some of my Tombow liquid glue into, just because it gives me a finer tip that I really, really like. And so it's just Tombow glue, but I've just put it in a different container. All right. So let's get this last one. And then we're going to have that one kind of hanging out down here like that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in those scallops circles from the layering circle dies, and we're going to put some Stampin' Dimensionals, the bigger ones, if I can find any that I haven't used. There we go. And we're just going to put a couple of these, and we're just going to kind of, so I don't really want one in the center because I've already got a bunch of layers in the center, so I'm going to just try to keep, like, I want one like right behind there. So again, I'm just kind of laying this down to see kind of where I need to put dimensionals. So then it's like, okay, I can put one here, and then I'm going to kind of use that as my guide there at the top. Oh, come on. And then I'm going to put another one right there. And then I'm going to put another one right here. So again, a lot of times when you're layering stuff, you've just got to kind of also lay your pieces down just to kind of see where to put your dimensionals. So now I'm going to just bring this in. That should be centered like that. And that's going to be on there like so. And then I have already, this is the another die cut. So the first one cut out this flower, or these apples, and this die cut out this image. And there's also a die cut to cut out this image. Okay, so now I'm just gonna again bring in my liquid glue. And we're gonna glue this down. Into place like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in all these little pieces. So, these have these little tiny pieces that go into the center. And so again, I'm just going to put a little piece of glue, Jiminy Christmas, a little dab of glue, and that was probably too much. So I'm going to do that one, and then I'm going to bring in these other two. And again, these are all dies. This is all dies that are part of this die set. So you can see why this is considered more like an Avid stamper. But again, guys, it's not hard to become an Avid stamper if you do a lot of this prep work ahead of time. You know, this isn't a card that you're going to make at like, oh my gosh, I need a card in 30 minutes. This is not going to be that card. Okay, but if you're sitting down and you're like, hey, you know, I want to make up some cards for my friends, and you know, and I've got a few days to do it, you can actually just sit down and cut a bunch of these dies out and then build a bunch of these flowers, and then you're kind of ready to go. So, you know, I always tell people that it's not about, you know, just sitting down and making it all in one swoop. You can do that, but, you know, and that would be more simple stamping. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm just going to kind of curl up the edges of this little apple blossom. Okay, so I just do that with a bone folder. You guys can do it with a stylus if you have a stylus. You can do it with the end of the take your pick tool. That will work as well. So anything that will help it to curl up without cutting it is the trick here. Okay, so again, that just gives it some more height or oomph. And so now I'm going to use some mini glue dots. Ooh, I'm almost out of glue dots. And I'm going to stick that right on the back here. And then I'm just going to take this, and so like this one is just going to sit right on that limb right there. And then I'm going to take one of the large leaves that I die cut out. Again, I'm just picking up that glue dot off of here. And that's just going to kind of come off of this limb right there, like so. Okay, and so I'm just going to kind of keep going around and picking up glue dots, sticking them on, and then we're going to come in on this one. And again, I'm trying to stay kind of down onto my designer series paper. And you can also do some finagling with that later, like you just saw me do after I got it down. And then I'm going to bring in one of the smaller leaves, and I'm out of glue dots there. Do I have any more? I think all I have on my table is like these micro mini glue dots, but they'll work. Whoops, maybe not. All right, and so then this one is just going to kind of come off right there and go on like so. And then we're going to take our last little one here, Let me find the glue dot. And again, we're just sticking this on like so. And that one's going to kind of go right there in that little like elbow is where that one's going to sit. And then I'm going to come in with this last little leaf and stick the glue dot on there. And then this one is just going to kind of come off like that. Okay, and then I'm going to let that sit for just a second while we work on the inside of the card. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot one more thing on the front. So I went ahead and took that thank you one again, and I inked it up with black Memento ink, and then just stamped it on a piece of crumb cake that was a scrap piece of paper. And then I'm just going to take my scissors and we are going to fussy cut around this. So basically fussy cutting is I'm just kind of widely going around the words just to give this a funner look. Okay, and so that's going to end up being right there. So we're going to take that liquid glue and we're just going to set this up like so. Oopsie. So that's going to sit like that. Then we're just going to come in with I don't know if I cut this down. Doesn't look like I did. So let me bring in my trimmer and I'm going to cut this down to 4 inches by 5 1/4. That's kind of the normal size for a mat, 4 by 5 1/4, because it leaves a little bit bigger. Like this one I did. So this designer series paper was 4 by 5 1/4, but that evening evergreen piece was 8, and so it left just a tiny edge around. And for the inside, I want kind of a bigger edge. So I'm going to kind of do the same thing that I did a second ago with that cherry blossom. So I'm going to bring this in and we're just going to stamp it down here in this corner. And since I didn't quite get the corner, we're going to put another one right down there to make it look like one of them was a little bit off. Then I'm going to come back in with that cherry cobbler dauber. And there's just enough on here to just kind of put some coloration in my little apple blossom. So I'll bring it closer so you can see. So see how it was just enough to put some color in there. And then we are going to just take this. And this is going to go on the inside of our card. And we're going to stick that on like so. And then to finish off the front, I am going to bring in some of our basic pearls. And we're going to use the putty end of our Take Your Pick tool. And I'm just going to pick up a pearl and I'm just going to set those right in the center of these apple blossoms. Like so. And voila, we are done with those 3 cards for this particular set. So let me bring it closer so you can see it. So see how it just has a lot more texture and a lot more, you're just using a lot more of the pieces. And again, it just depends on whether you're in the mood to do that or not. But I love adding the pearls because I think it added something really fun to this card. And there you go. And I love the fact that I used some of our Christmas paper and turned it into a card that was not not a Christmas card. So let's bring those back in. So, oh, wasn't that one? Oh yeah, it was. All right, so that was the simple. And of course, I kind of cheated on my casual because I already had done this for a class. So there's 3 cards made with that set. Again, I think they're really fun cards. It's just a really fun set. You could go crazy designing with all of the dies that are in this set. So I'm going to bring that in so you can see that again. I mean, there's so many dies in this set, you know, but this is just stamping and then kind of die cutting and then die cutting a lot of the pieces and bringing in other die cuts. So I hope you guys enjoyed these cards tonight. I hope you loved them. I'm in love with them. You know, and I'm really partial to the ones that I stamp. They come out so pretty when you just use the stamp. I'm gonna have to, this is driving me crazy because I didn't burnish that edge and now it's trying to like play pop-up. So anyway, I hope I gave you guys some ideas for this set. Again, really fun set. So this is the bundle. It's the Apple Harvest bundle. That's if you need to buy both the stamp set and the dies. If you need just the dies, then you would just need to go to my store at juliebrown.stampinup.net and type in the Apple Harvest, or I think actually what it's called, or I can give you guys the number for just the dies. So the Apple Blossom dies is 160255. So that's 160255 if all you need to do is buy the dies because you already bought the stamp set when the annual catalog came out. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this tonight. Again, do not forget that on the 15th, is that right? Because that's a Saturday. That can't be right. Let me look it up really quick, snappity quick. Bear with me because Stampin' Up! Is having a big sale coming up. And I want to make sure, yeah, it is the 15th. So September 15th, it is a 24-hour stamp sale. And it is basically stamp sets from the 2022 and 2023 annual catalog. And I'm pretty sure, I haven't checked all of them, but it looks like it's almost everything in there. So almost everything in there is going to be 15% off. But it's only on September 15th. It's the only day. So it's 24 hours. And so if you guys, if there's some stamp sets that you were thinking about getting, now would be the time to do it, is on the 15th. Alrighty, guys. Well, again, thank you so much for being with me tonight. I know that you're taking time away from other things you could be doing, and I greatly appreciate that you guys give me your time. And so hopefully I make it worth your time to be here because I'm showing you some fun ideas, maybe a new technique, you know, just something to help you to want to go and be creative and use the stamp sets that you have at home. Anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And for those of you that are watching me on YouTube, it is a replay, but you can still type in your questions and let me know what questions you have, and I will see them. They will pop up on my phone actually, and I will be able to answer those questions for you. But I do appreciate your guys' loyalty. I appreciate you as customers. I appreciate you as my team members. I don't think you guys understand how much I appreciate you. You are allowing me to do something that I absolutely love, and I greatly appreciate that. So everybody have a good night, and I will be talking to all of you soon. Bye.